We are going to talk about the activities of the missionaries in the late 19th century, early 20th century. The best example will be George MACKAY. You must know this person, MACKAY. This memorial hospitals in Taiwan in memory of the MACKAY. The one in Zhongshan Road is called, yes, MACKAY's Memorial Hospital. He was actually a missionary from Canada, and through the activities of, as I mentioned, medical man, he actually introduced the religion, the Presbyterianism to Taiwan. That is actually the reason why in northern part of Taiwan we have a lot of Presbyterian churches. In the southern part of Taiwan, there's also these churches built by the Protestantism. This is actually sponsored by another missionary group from Scotland. You know, the Presbyterians, they were actually has a very strong political tendencies, and a lot of political movement was actually sponsored or motivated by religious reasons or religious organizations, which is very interesting in Taiwan. But if we go back to the history of the Presbyterianism, then you will notice it was actually exactly the same in Scotland when the Queen Mary Scott was actually overthrown, or the others. So this aspect should be also brought into the Taiwanese religious activity. MACKAY was actually born in 1844 in Ontario. Well, Oxford was also the name in Ontario. Therefore, there is actually a school of Oxford College nowadays in Danshui, which is actually named after this Oxford in Ontario, not the Oxford in England. So he went to school in Canada and finished his school. In the picture it shows that that's where MACKAY was actually born. And he then entered in the theological seminary in Toronto in 1866 at the age of 20-something. And then he finished his studies in Princeton and returned to Canada later. Then he would like to dedicate himself in the spreading of the religion, or to in sharing his religion with the world. So he took an oath and then started to perform as a missionary. And in 1871, he was actually sent to China for his mission. As you know, in the year 18 after 1860s, Taiwan was actually opened as a treaty port, and therefore a lot of missionaries arrived in Taiwan, want to spread, want to share the religion with the local people, and certainly they were CHOUs. They were always landed at the treaty port. Therefore, the first treaty port, it attracted the Western commissioner was actually Danshui, and the other one was actually in Tainan. So the seminary in Tainan was also very important. Nowadays we have the Changrong University in Tainan. This is also based on this same background. So the American missionaries, they explored or widened their work in Asia, in Taiwan, in Japan, in Hong Kong, in Canton, and so on. And therefore, MACKAY was actually introduced to the Taiwanese missionary society. He arrived in Taiwan, first of all, in Kaohsiung, and then come to Danshui with another guy, Richie. So he set up 20 churches in the region of the North Dajiaxi. The Dajiaxi is actually a river across the Taichung County. So I think at that time the missionaries, they always divided some kind of a sphere of influences amongst themselves. So therefore, the north of Dajiaxi was actually under this group, and 1872, MACKAY was actually living in Danshui and started a new church. But we have to know that the church here only means a very small group, and it is by no means self-sufficient. You always have to get some fund, get some financial aid from their hometown, and therefore a lot of money built for the building of churches or other facilities were actually collected from Canada, and therefore a lot of houses or halls they built. They also named after these communities in their hometown. As well as I mentioned, there's a Oxford College in Danshui. So at that stage, not so many people were actually Christians. So in order to win the respect, in order to win the trust of the local people, you have to show something. And the easiest way to win the trust from the local people would be medicine. Right? You use medical services as the best way to approach to the people. So MACKAY was actually, as we saw his resume, he was actually a theological student. I can do nothing in this field. Therefore, he went back to learn and became a dentist. So it is said that he has he was for a long time the keeper of the Guinness Record book, because he put the most teeth in Taiwan. So whenever you have the toothache, you go to MACKAY, he will fix it for you. And with these kind of activities, they gradually he won the trust, and also then a lot of people actually converted into the church, into the religion. And he traveled all over the northern part of Taiwan by boat or on foot. And this was actually one of the pictures shows that he went to Yilan. Nowadays, to go to Yilan, it will only take you 40 minutes. Right? From Shiding, go there, go through the tunnel, the Xueshan tunnel, 40 minutes at most. By that stage, to go to Yilan will cost you, say, 2 weeks, 1 to 2 weeks, because by boat it's very dangerous. You know, the stormy weather and the cliffs and so on. Therefore, the easiest way would be by land. So there is a road called Danlan Dao, from Danshui to Yilan. Right? The road is still there. If you wish, you can hike for these 5 days. Go through Shenkeng, Shiding, go to Pingxi, and then go to the coast. It's a very nice way, by the way. So if you try to trace back MACKAY's route, it's possible. So he also visited the villages, and as you can see here, there was actually in Yilan there's a lot of Altai tribe, and the tribe that also trusted him. So his work as a missionary was very successful. He converted a lot of people, and therefore, if you go to Danshui, there's a lot of Presbyterians there, and you have the Jinan Jiaobei. For example, the ex-president of Taiwan, Li Donghui, he is a native of Danshui. He went to the Danshui High School and had contact with the missionaries, and he was actually converted, and he's now a very devoted Presbyterian. So as you can see here, that's all through his activities, he went all over the northern part of Taiwan, and sometimes they just call him a big beard. You can see that. Yeah. That's actually still the late Qing dynasty, people with plaid accompanied him. And there are some pictures shows that he was actually pulling teeth by standing there, and very interesting. And this is actually the churches and schools built by MACKAY in Danshui. If you have you been to Zhenli University in Danshui? Danshui is actually a very nice place with a lot of monuments, with the ancient houses and so on. Just take a look and you can feel how, standing on the consulate of the British consulate, you can see the harbor, the river, and the harbor. You can see, you mentioned that some 400 years ago, the boats tried to arrive, and the boat was actually much smaller. It was easy for them to come along with the tides into the Danshui River up to Guangpa. So you can see that is actually the Danshui Jiaobei. It is Taiwanese Christians, Presbyterian churches. This is actually one of the typical buildings built by MACKAY and his followers. And this is a little village where he used to live, and it's still named after him, the MACKAY Land. This is MACKAY. Right.
Can you really have that long?
Yeah. You see it in the picture. We'll come back. So this one with the beard. Also here, this is MACKAY. And this one with the hat is also MACKAY. Here, see? Almost his trademark. So this is actually right in the center of the Danshui village. You see MACKAY here, and it's a small hospital. Oh yeah, he's pulling. He's actually you can see he's fixing the teeth for the local villagers, and then his follower also trained as a, well, we don't call it dentist, we call it a tooth puller or remover. See? And this was actually the hospital, or the little clinic he set up for the to serve the Danshui people, and the building is still there. Was actually turned into a memorial hall for MACKAY. And he married native girl, family named Zhang from Wugu. You know where Wugu is? The other side of the Danshui River. Have you been to Zhongshan Nose Road? So the other side of the road, just across the river, will be the Wugu Bali, and he married the Zhang. Oh, this is the hospital nowadays. It's called WHEI. WHEI was the traditional name or the ancient name of the Danshui area. There's K's hospital, and we see that this is the picture from now. And this is actually the same building. And later on, because the follower is actually increasing, so the northern part of Taipei was actually one of his domain, and he started to set up a bigger hospital. And then this is actually one of the major hospital set up during the Japanese colonial time by the followers of MACKAY, and became later on this is the MACKAY's Memorial Hospital. And we can see that the flag is raised, British and the Japanese one. This was the MACKAY's hospital. And not only a hospital, but also a nurse school was actually also established. And now if you take the Danshui MRT, you can see that it's a huge complex of medical service there in Danshui. That is the new site of MACKAY's Memorial Hospital. And then we go back to the school that is established. This is actually the College of Oxford. It was when it was built. And the money came from Canada. The architect comes from Canada, and everything is actually built in the traditional Canadian way. And that's the hall of the lecture. That's the building nowadays. The Zhenli University is still served there as the best of the Danshui area. The students, they still keep the safeguard the spirit of MACKAY. That's the hospital. Sorry, the Oxford College from far. That's the college you can see here. Yeah, this is MACKAY's wife, the lady from Wugu. This is Lady Tang, and that is family. MACKAY is always with beard. He has sons and daughters, and they all live nowadays still in Canada. They're all his offsprings. They also have contact with the Danshui. So this is the family. We have to notice one thing, that a lot of time, many occasions, the translation was actually quite wrong. Ma Jie, he says Dr. Ma Jie's and not Dr. Ma Jie's offsprings, but in Chinese it is translated as 博士, as a doctor as an academic title, which is not correct. The doctor is also, he only refers to a medicine man. For example, Sun Ye-xian is a doctor, but he's a medical doctor, not an academic doctor. And we always translate it as the academic title. It's incorrect. So that his offspring sometimes come back to Taiwan to visit the grave. And I think not there's still the Presbyterian churches in Taiwan. They still worship or still kind of show great respect to MACKAY. In memory of Reverend MACKAY. So, this is MACKAY's son. Right. This is whole family, still with the MACKAY in the middle. And some of his offspring wrote this book, From Far Formosa. Okay. There's a short story about MACKAY. Any question? No? Yeah.
Like the schools or in the hospital, like the missionary radiation. How about today? Is that owned by a company, or is that like a Taiwanese related company, or is it still like foreign organization? Who's that owned by now?
The hospital.
Yeah, the hospital, or maybe it could be the Christian school.
This is run by a board. It's not a personal, a private thing, but I think the church runs the hospital and also runs the university. Yeah, they have a board to keep kind of in charge of the thing. This is a common practice in Taiwan. A lot of churches they started to expand and own a lot of say universities and hospitals. I think the models, this operation is very common in the Western world also, right? A church can run a lot of business. Any other questions? No? Don't want to know anything more about MACKAY? Okay.